Now let's go ahead and talk about the what. All right. Now, if you think this topic is already depressing and saddening, this is definitely where it's going to get worse. We're going to talk about what this actually looks like, and primarily focusing on the middle passage. So let me go ahead and get into that. So as far as what this actually looked like, now first off, let me go ahead and start off with kind of a big misconception. So a lot of people, when they think of this trade, they kind of envision different European peoples coming from different European countries, essentially storming into a united Africa, pulling people out and then selling them. Not necessarily the case. All right. So first off, we got to remember that the continent of Africa is a huge continent, and at this time with multiple countries, and like we studied in the last topic, multiple kingdoms. All right, and as I kind of mentioned already in the other slide, this trade, this exchange of human beings, was always already going on in this continent to start off with. And of course, the European involvement really got started once they needed more of a labor force to use in the New World. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about what this looks like. Now, the slide that you should be looking at, I'm looking at right there, we have a few pictures. Now, let's go ahead and first talk about the capture of slaves. Now, originally, most slaves in Africa, when they were captured, it was usually due to warfare. All right. So different people fighting in conflict with each other, and then the winner enslaving other people. All right. It can be because of that. It can be because of debt. But when this happened, things kind of changed. All right. All of a sudden, you have typically different African kingdoms, Western kingdoms, that were going to other places, other countries, other areas, and essentially taking these people, stealing them, abducting them, however you want to put it. All right. So you got to imagine this would be terrifying. All right. One day you're just sitting in your home doing whatever you would do, and someone comes in and they start grabbing people up. They grab you. They're definitely going to grab a lot of men as far as wanting that workforce. They're just going to start grabbing people. Now, once they have these people, as you can see, they're going to bind them up and march them down. Okay, we'll march them down to the west coast of Africa. Now, with this, once again, horrifying journey. You're going to be tied up, and a lot of people are not going to make this first journey. All right. But unfortunately, when it comes to the dark side of economics, this was part of the price of doing business, which is obviously hard and horrible to say and think about. All right. But so anyways, they would be marched down to the coast. Now, eventually they would make it to these very large trade ports. Now I'm looking at this and I wish I put a picture of these, but you're going to have these giant slave trade ports where different European countries and African kingdoms countries were able to exchange people back and forth. Now, keep in mind, once you're actually taken to these forts, you're not automatically jumping a boat and on your way. Typically, you're held there until the next slave ship is going to come. Now, while you're waiting there, you're not staying at the Ritz. Right? You're staying in awful, horrible situations. Essentially, a dark dungeon where you're kept alive. All right, that was the main goal, so that you could be traded. But as far as any being comfortable, that was not the focus of the people that would be holding you there. All right. Now, eventually, and keep in mind, you've already been taken from your home, marched down to a different place, been stuck in this fort. Now, a boat of new people are going to come and they are going to take you once again now from your continent. Now, once again, to make this more horrifying, and I'm just saying you because I'm trying to put you in this situation or get you to think like that. There would be these people that are now loading you onto a boat, and you would never have seen these people or seen people like this. And one of the common misconceptions is that these slave traders, these European slave traders, were actually cannibals, all right, who were actually taking these people to eat them. And sadly, a lot of times these slave traders would take advantage of that to inspire fear, number one. But there's actually one time on a slave ship that a slave trader joked about that, how they were going to eat the passengers, and there was actually a slave riot that led to a whole thing. And actually, that's a different topic. I won't go too far into that. Okay. So, anyways, these people would be loaded onto a ship. Now, I do have a picture of this, and it's kind of hard to see, but you can see essentially the layout of a slave ship. Now, once again, you're not getting on a Carnival cruise. You're getting on a ship where they're trying to pack as many people in there as possible, because once again, this is economics, okay, the dark side of it. As many people as possible, so people would be forced to essentially lay side by side or be in a kind of crouching position, and they would be in this for months, all right, side by side. Now, another thing is, once they actually start going, you're not going to have air conditioning, you're not going to have anything like that. It would be horrible. It would be hot. You just have the constant smell of stink, okay, as far as people having to go to the bathroom and going to the bathroom where they are and just being buckled down next to each other, all right? Now, of course, if you aren't already thinking of this already, if you have this many people, and occasionally they were brought up to actually walk around and exercise on the deck, because if they didn't do that, they would, essentially harm these people too much to be used later on. But the thing is, when you keep people down in a environment like that, people are going to get sick. People are going to get sick, and you're going to spread disease. Now, are they going to take care of these people and try to help them get back to health? To a certain point, but eventually, no. Okay. So at a certain point, if they see that you are sick and there's a fear of contamination or spread, they are simply going to get rid of you, and they're going to throw you off the boat. And another sad fact is they were actually, and I don't know how you do this, we're actually able to see that different areas that typically had sharks kind of changed during this time period, because sharks found out that if they followed these ships, they would have a meal. All right. So people being thrown off as far as being sick, or people trying to fight back, they would be dealt with right away. Okay. And once again, you would be stuck in this situation for multiple months. And did a lot of people die? Yes. Okay. Out of the tremendous amount of people that were taking this middle passage, a lot of people died. They would not make it. And I'm trying to think of the number, percentage as far as people that did die in this middle passage. I guarantee you will find it. So I'm not going to try to think that hard. All right. Okay. So look that up. It'll be interesting. So a horrible passage. Now, once these people actually make it to their destination, they're not on vacation. All right. You're not staying on the Ritz, not Carnival Cruise, and you're not on vacation. So the final part is they are now going to be enslaved. Now, as I already mentioned, there's multiple parts in Americas, in the Americas, as far as North, Central, and South, in the Caribbean area. First off, you have the Caribbean area, the death sentence. All right. Really the place where you will be worked to death, and they will eventually replace you. All right. In other areas, and essentially the way this would work is you would be sold on a slave block to where they would strip you down. Often they would put oil on the skin to make people look younger, and try to sell you for as much money as possible. All right. But you'd be sold in other areas, and essentially be used to grow things such as things I've talked about, sugarcane, tobacco, cotton, etc. All right. And then once again, the sad reality, these goods, the triangle trade, were then shipped back to Europe. So this whole process could keep going and going and going. All right. All right, so here's the thing. In the next video, this is going to be the part of the video where I'm going to pass this off to you and give you a question that you will be answering for the final assignment for this week. All right, so let me go ahead and do that. So go ahead and switch to the next video.